One, two, three, Baby.
Johnny Bravo 1995 cartoon explored. Johnny Bravo, which aired from 1997 until 2004, is a cartoon series about an Elvis Presley-like man with a massive ego. He is assured of his own masculinity and is continuously rejected by the ladies with whom he attempts to flirt. The show Johnny Bravo was created as part of Van Partible's senior thesis work at Loyola Marymount University in 1993. It was called Meso Blues at the time, and it was about a man who was an Elvis Presley impersonator. Partible's animation professor showed the animated short to a colleague at Hanna-Barbera, who encouraged Partible to expand the concept into a presentation for a new short. Partible modified the character's appearance, name, and recruited Jeff Bennett to voice him. Partible collaborated with a tiny group of animators to develop a new short that debuted on Cartoon Network's world premiere Toons on March 26, 1995. Because of the strongly positive response, the concept was brought up for an entire season and helped begin the careers of a number of creators, including Seth MacFarlane, who went on to develop Family Guy, and also Butch Hartman, who went on to create The Fairly Odd Parents. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
I give you the world's greatest superhero, Bravo Man.
What the cartoon television series is all about. Johnny Bravo, created by then-student cartoonist Van Partible, debuted in the year 1995 on Cartoon Network as a part of the network's What a Cartoon program, among other blockbusters such as Dexter's Laboratory, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Powerpuff Girls. Seth MacFarlane of Family Guy, along with Butch Hartman of Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents, as well as Genndy Tartakovsky of Samurai Jack, all collaborated with Partible on this project, so everyone can see what type of genius we have here. The idea started in 1993, when cartoonist Van Partible developed his thesis short Meso Blues, which included an Elvis impersonator. The whole short film has not yet been distributed to the public as of 2021. The only places to get information and footage from the short are on the Johnny Bravo wiki and during the behind-the-scenes brief on the Season 1 DVD. You've all heard and loved the story. The show's title character, Johnny Bravo, is a huge, stupid, blonde-muscled man who is infatuated with landing a stunning lady. He attempts to pick up gorgeous women on his wacky travels, but fails terribly, culminating in some rip-roaring humor and hilarious violence. What should have been a dull, repetitive tale is instead turned into a creative animated series with amazing voice casting and some crazy awesome graphics paying homage to Hanna-Barbera's old episodes. He is a strong young guy who stays with his mom and tries to entice ladies to date him, but he is generally unsuccessful. He finds himself in odd circumstances and predicaments, sometimes joined by renowned guests such as Adam West or Donny Osmond. The program was noted for its mature comedy and pop culture allusions throughout its existence. A program is only as excellent as its lead character, and Johnny Bravo is a colorful, energetic, and weird guy. He's a tall, well-muscled mashup of James Dean with Fonzie, dressed in dark shades and tight attire, and talks in an Elvis Presley-like voice. He's slick and sophisticated, yet he's also awkward and clumsy. He isn't particularly bright, yet he believes he is the ruler of the universe. Partible's middle title, Giovanni Bravo, or perhaps the Brady Bunch segment Adios Johnny Bravo, were used to name and design the character. His personality and mannerisms were inspired by a mix of James Dean's 50s Elvis-like design, Patrick Swayze's hairdo, Michael Jackson's exaggerated stances and motions, and the insufferable Gaston from Disney's famous Beauty and Beast's temperament. Johnny is especially amusing because of how ludicrous the outcomes of his episodic experiences can be. Fans of the program know that no matter what he does, he will never ever be with Miss Cutie Pants. In fact, the ladies on the program seem more than willing to bash, punch, or control this self-identified Mr. Universe. That would never fly in real life, and we all know it. Come on, women, identify one guy in your ranking of Hollywood favorites who does not look, speak, or behave like Johnny Bravo. Sure, the quiet kind is admirable, but don't we all desire a Bravo guy in our lives? They may be huge and domineering, but they understand how to make that pricey outfit seem worth it. Jeff Bennett is indeed the mastermind behind the handsome Johnny, and the seasoned voice actor has received plaudits for his portrayal even after the program has ended. Bennett's spitfire, suave language is sensual and appealing, and his sense of hilarious timing is off the wall in the nicest conceivable way. Bennett may have voiced dozens of figures following Johnny Bravo, but this animation has almost immortalized his name. If you don't believe us, simply see his performances as a Comic-Con. You think you were seeing a rock concert. Johnny Bravo as the primary character does rule the program, but we can't forget about the minor and supporting characters who are just as amusing as the protagonist. Bunny Bravo, who is played by Brenda Vaccaro, Johnny's hyperactive mother, is an excellent role model and counselor to her egotistical son. Carl, the eccentric genius, who is played by Tom Kenny, can be obnoxious at times, but his strange speeches result in some entertaining rebuttals from Johnny. While young Susie, played by Mae Whitman, is a sweet young girl. She is also a humorous counterpoint to Johnny. She is the only girl in the whole show that likes Johnny for who he really is. This program was just one of those underground blockbuster successes renowned for raunchy comedy when we were all younger, similar to Animaniacs or even the extremely contentious Cow and Chicken. That's right, Johnny Bravo even now is recognized as a show aimed solely at children and their parents. Our main character uses inappropriate language to allude to his beautiful lady targets, and vaguely alluded to taking them home and hitting a homer. He even encounters a night mistress. Yep, you figured it out. Adult humor is frequently used. In one segment, when Susie decides to call Johnny to see if he would like to come over, Johnny tells her to call him back in 15 years when she will be a co-ed. And yet in another, once Johnny is struck by a tranquilizer arrow and told he has only 6 seconds of consciousness remaining and to use it wisely, he instantaneously brings out a girly magazine. Concerning the mature comedy, Hardman remarked that being bothered with the substance of the episode wasn't their major emphasis, and creator Partible recalls that no one was actually watching Cartoon Network, and as far as material, they were fairly tolerant of all the kinds of stuff that was going on. But guess what? Kids adore it. Dirty comedy was the norm when we were just kids. Adult humor, when done well, may bring depth and sophistication to a comedy. That is exactly what happened with Johnny Bravo. Overall, the program is still amusing and a lot of fun. A lot of people care so much about the main character that they are ready to overlook a few of his imperfections. Partible presented the show to Hanna-Barbera's cartoon showcase named What a Cartoon, based on his final thesis project at Loyola Marymount University. In 1995, Cartoon Network aired a debut episode. The program was brought back for a season 2 in 1999, at which point Partible stopped being a part of it, and the program was reworked under the supervision of Kirk Tindblad. Partible came back in 2003 for the show's season 4, restoring it to its familiar old format and aesthetic. A grand total of 67 episodes have been broadcast throughout the course of 4 seasons. The first 3 seasons were created by Hanna-Barbera Animations, while season 4 was developed by Cartoon Network Studios. Johnny Bravo has received 4 Annie Award nominations, a Young Star Award nomination, as well as 2 Golden Reel Award nominations. Numerous animators, particularly Butch Hartman and Seth MacFarlane, got their start due to the popularity of the show. Graphic novels, VHS and DVD releases, computer games and collector toys are a few examples of the show's spin-off media. The characters of the series help and shine and make it memorable. And we aren't just talking about the main characters here. Johnny Bravo is a sunglass-wearing, muscular, arrogant, megalomaniac, and buffoonish, self-proclaimed philanderer with a pompadour hairstyle and a voice that reminds us of Elvis Presley, supposedly of Italian descent, who resides in Aron City, a tribute to Presley's middle name, and is the focus of the series. Episodes primarily focus on him attempting to get a lady to go out on a date with him, yet his efforts are usually denied, resulting in the lady in question injuring him in a comical manner owing to his obnoxious demeanor. Bunny Mama Bravo is his vivacious, affectionate, outgoing, similarly simple-minded mother who also dons a pair of sunglasses. Little Susie, who is a talkative and a smart little girl from the vicinity who likes to irritate Johnny, despite the fact that he very seldom remembers who she is. Carl Kreiniswix, a nerd who worships Johnny in spite of being harassed and steamrollered around by him, as well as Pops, the disreputable owner of the local eatery who provides Johnny with advice as well as food made from usual ingredients, are all Johnny's companions throughout the show. Master Hama, voiced by Brian Tochi, a Japanese martial arts educator who tries to teach Johnny but just never thinks of him as a student because he is the poorest and the most pitiful student in his dojo. Donny Osmond, played by himself, a cheery and enthusiastic teen idol who bothers Johnny, and Jungle Boy, played by Cody Dorkin, a jungle-dwelling savage child with fantastic strength and ability to speak to animals, are recurring characters. The series' comedy is mostly based on famous guest star performances and pop culture allusions. For instance, an episode in the first season is focused on tributes to The Twilight Zone, while in another segment, one of the people of the village may be seen in the backdrop. Several guest stars have appeared on the show, including Shaquille O'Neal, Adam West, Seth Green, and the aforementioned Donny Osmond. In the very first season, producer Van Partible planned for the show's middle portion to be a type of Johnny Bravo Meets, a spoof of the new Scooby-Doo movies with cameos from prominent 70s icons, but guest stars were employed informally when the second season began. Many Hanna-Barbera characters, including Scooby-Doo, Fred Flintstone, Speed Buggy, Jabberjaw, Yogi Bear, Black Widow, the Blue Falcon, and Huckleberry Hound, made guest appearances in the series. To replicate Hanna-Barbera style, each episode is formatted into 3 7-minute portions similar to Dexter's Laboratory. The biggest distinction is that during the premiere, there was a section called Mr. Monkey Man, which starred a different character called Jungle Boy. The figure was intended to be a parody of Tarzan, except for his name, which is self-explanatory. Regrettably, that was the season's sole segment. True, the personalities from the episode make repeated appearances and reunions throughout the season, especially when Johnny Bravo is present. There were episodes that mocked practically everything. In The Sensitive Male, Johnny learns the skill of courting ladies from a compassionate man via musical numbers a la Schoolhouse Rock. Jack Sheldon, who wrote the music for Schoolhouse Rock, voiced and sang the character. The characters in 2 episodes spoke in rhyme, whether it was Christmas Tale from Twas the Night or even Dr. Seuss style in Cookie Crisis. Although the figure animation was minimal, Johnny stood out due to his chaotic movement from stands to stands. It's comparable to the animated smear technique used by Chuck Jones in The Dover Boys. The visual style of the retooled season was jagged, and the main characters were more lifelike with a cartoonish flair. Johnny's enthusiastic conduct continues to set him out of the pack. In Season 3, the animation transitioned from conventional ink and paint to digital ink and paint, with brighter and clearer colors. Furthermore, Little Susie was redesigned to be more spherical and similar to her original look. Animators of the time created a variety of unique and innovative figures and environments. Kirk provided the artist the very best he had to offer.
Enough about you, let's talk about me, Johnny Bravo. What do you think?
Characters: Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo is indeed the series' titular primary protagonist, His shallow, obnoxious, and dim-witted characteristics result in an inexorable failure to seduce women, as well as being beaten up by the ladies or anybody else, which becomes a running joke throughout the series. Johnny dresses in a black shirt, blue pants, black shoes, blonde hair gelled up, and his characteristic sunglasses. He has a strong frame that is sometimes exaggerated in size. Johnny, like the other humans, has black speckled eyes, as shown in Bravo Doobie-Doo. Johnny Bravo is dim-witted, ill-mannered, and thoughtless jerk. He's conceited, constantly looking in mirrors and flashing his physique in front of the ladies. During an interaction with a woman, Johnny always will try to flip the subject around so that both of them are chatting about him in an attempt to make the lady understand his favorable features, despite the fact that this effort shows his narcissism. Johnny also believes naively and incorrectly that all women desire him, oblivious to their disinterest. As a result, Johnny has the confidence to approach any lady and even attempts to kiss one when they meet in the pilot. Johnny seems to have no concept of private space, as he frequently lunges at the ladies and bends them backwards while interacting with them, forcing the majority of them to strike him in disgust. He also flirts with ladies that are already in a relationship, even suggesting adultery without concerns of penalties. Johnny also exhibits extraordinary resolve, since he will go through several efforts, even life-threatening kinds, to win a woman's heart, despite the fact that this almost always results in failure. Johnny's ineptitude and his conviction that attractive looks and manly deeds are more than enough to win someone's heart are to blame for his failures. Johnny generally treats prospective partners like nagging housewives or overlooks their demands in favor of his own because of his shallow dating ideals. Despite his size, he is easily defeated by the bulk of the animals and people he meets. This might be due to a number of factors, including a high level of poisons and other chemicals in his body. Johnny's diet consists primarily of junk food and meat, which he consumes in oddly unhealthy ways, such as drinking cups of bacon fat, as well as meals that others may find repulsive, such as items from Pop's Moon Palace. His fascination in such food was most likely sparked by his mother Bunny, who gave him a wide variety of meals. Johnny is shown as not particularly bright, with a lack of critical thinking skills and general understanding. He can also be seen as a masculine version of the stupid blonde stereotype. His degree of intellect and immaturity might fluctuate every now and then, and is sometimes shown in a more severe ways than typical. He is also exceedingly naive and easy to fool, having been dubbed a bonehead when he was a toddler. An anthropologist claims he is stupider than a monkey. Despite this, Johnny frequently speaks in a caustic, theatrical tone and occasionally uses big words. Overall, Johnny appears to know more about his own passions than academics or practically anything else he considers geeky. Johnny, for example, knows everything there is to know about Jerky Jake-style beef jerky. He also knows a lot regarding Mr. Kevin's hair gel, because he has taken the factory tour several times. Johnny is Squint Ringo's greatest fan, with a lifetime membership of his fan group and a stockpile of merchandise. He claims to know all of his techniques and utilizes them to get in line and become the last person to obtain Squint's autobiography autographed by the celebrity himself. He subsequently briefly worked as a stuntman for Squint and once attempted to take prune sauce from Little Susie in order to obtain Squint Ringo's tungsten knuckles. Johnny also enjoys nachos and Pop's chili. He will go to any length to obtain these meals. Johnny's poor people skills, dishonesty, and a variety of other flaws result in his having a few friends. When Johnny dislikes someone, he is frequently harsh to them, even if he may think about their sentiments in private. For instance, when he upsets Susie, he feels terrible and attempts to remedy the situation he caused. While he may not like to acknowledge it, he regards Carl and her as his closest friends and leans on them for assistance at times. In addition, after he misinterprets Carl's death in Carl Be Not Proud, he deeply regrets his actions and resolves to be a nicer person for a limited time. In spite of this, Johnny is capable of communicating with individuals he regards as father figures, in including people like Bunny and Pops. Johnny likes his macho bad guy lifestyle so much that he condemns others for juvenile habits such as doll play or role playing while he himself engages in similar activities. Johnny also generally engages in similar activities in front of everyone, hoping that no one, such as Carl or Susie, will detect his hypocrisy. In such cases, he would frequently attempt to justify himself or offer excuses in order to maintain his fictitious reputation. Johnny's fears are demonstrated throughout the show by his lack of dating experience, the way he drives his good friends away, and his avoidance of settling into a long-term romantic commitment, which is why he is not against the idea of cheating. Johnny also expresses some self-awareness regarding his immature character through the doll, being ashamed of surreptitiously sucking his finger and kissing his pillows, imagining it as a woman. He maintains he needs everyone to believe he is in command, but he considers himself a small baby for worrying about monsters during the night. In general, Johnny can be extremely uninformed or critical of things he doesn't really understand, such as those he perceives to be freaks, nerds, or otherwise unusual. He also has a skeptical attitude about people who are too pleasant or cheerful, as seen when Sister Sarah attempted to assist him change his ways. Johnny promised to be nicer to satisfy Sarah's standards after she stated she was only attracted to good, noble guys. Whenever he fails, she offers him additional opportunities, which he considers arrogant. Sarah soon cracks, realizing she's wasted her life attempting to help individuals like Johnny, and beats him up before departing to join a hard rock metal band. The character is remembered for his very quick movements, which he used to dazzle ladies and were followed by a loud snap of a whip audio effect. Whoa, mama, she digs me. Or wiggy, frequently used favorably or in reaction to something weird. Let's motor. And yeah, whatever are just some of Johnny's catchphrases. Johnny uttering some word ending with Y, breaching the fourth wall all the time, and being beaten to a pulp by ladies who reject him are the three reoccurring jokes. Another recurrent humor in Johnny's low attention span, that is, asking people what he said, since he is easily distracted by an attractive lady or an odd notion occupying his mind. Bunny Bravo sometimes used to dress Johnny in a bunny costume when he was a newborn. When he refused to eat, she would divert his attention by pointing to something else in the opposite way and stuffing food down his mouth. She once gave him a piece of baked ham rather than baby food, while leaving him in his crib with the lights turned off while she watched TV. This drove him to picture his toys as demons, instilling in him a phobia of the darkness that he now has as an adult. In Look Who's Drooling, Bunny delivers a now infant Johnny to a daycare, hinting that she used to do so when she was busy. Johnny is portrayed in certain episodes to have had his temperament and fascination for girls when he was a little baby. In Blanky Hanky Panky, a flashback shows Johnny and his first kiss when they were both very young. A young Johnny is depicted in T is for Trouble to be a major fan of superstar Mr. T, to whom he addressed a letter asking if he could show him how to fight his nemesis, Little Ricky Simmons. Stinky Brownstein tormented Johnny in elementary school. She would play different pranks on him, such as convincing him that there was a cross-dressing day in school, convincing him that a frozen pole was made of sweets, and pulling his trousers down on the day of his school graduation. Johnny was small and acne-ridden during intermediate school years. Carl would abuse Johnny, demanding his lunch money since he was 3 weeks bigger and older. Johnny was pretty thin in high school, weighing 98 pounds and sporting a mullet. He had a thing for Sandy Baker, the most beautiful and sweetest girl in school. Trent, a bully, threw Johnny into a garbage bin one day. Sandy stepped in and had him say sorry to Johnny for making fun of people who didn't have a lot of muscle. She then assisted Johnny, but inadvertently knocked him over. Sandy repented, and the two got to know each other. Sandy volunteered to come over and read with Johnny after realizing that they were both in the same Spanish class. Johnny asked Sandy out to the prom that night, and she joyfully accepted. Johnny concluded that Sandy deserved to attend prom with a hunkin' stud. Johnny purchased fitness equipment at Flex Big Arms after seeing it in a comic book. He struggled at first, but he gradually got the knack of it. Johnny became the powerful guy he is now after weeks of training and ingesting muscle supplements to ensure he gained a massive build quickly. Johnny walked up to Sandy's home on prom night, which seemed to be deserted. If he got stood up, he was distraught. Johnny wished to talk to her the next day at school, but he never saw her again. Sandy then stated that she had indeed told him that she was leaving and that he had just forgotten. Bunny Bravo. Mama or Bunny Bravo, Johnny Bravo's mother, has a colorful history and occasionally exhibits an unexpected secret skill. Bunny is a caring and a quirky woman with maternal traits. She is devoted to her child, but because she is aware of his poor intelligence and womanizer mentality, she does not always take him and his concerns seriously. Johnny and his buddies frequently refer to Bunny as Mama. Bunny is nice, extrovert, quirky, and loving, and she frequently treats Johnny like a baby. She is normally pleasant, but anyone who feels they can significantly harm her kid or treat him unjustly in her presence will get a thrashing. Bunny enjoys shopping networks, trinkets such as collector plates, porcelain sculptures and dolls, and a mock soap opera titled The Young and the Feckless. She also adores specific celebrities such as musician Barry Vanderbolten. Bunny is passionate about gardening. Her other interests include caring, baking, enjoying soap operas, athletics, bingo, and performing extreme feats. Little Susie. Little Susie, often known as Susie, is a bright young redhead girl who is persistent and outspoken. She also is Johnny Bravo's neighbor, whose name Johnny frequently forgets, and she is the series' tritagonist. Susie is revealed to be pleasant and more sycophantic than Johnny, in addition to her brilliance. She is upbeat and seldom angry or depressed, especially in the early and final seasons of the show. Susie's primary hobbies are education, reading, tea parties, and dolls. She is also a major Gabbity Abbey fan, owning each doll and other Gabbity Abbey paraphernalia, including a collection of 24 CD-ROM discs. However, like other youngsters, Susie's enthusiasm in some things, such as the doll in Neuer Johnny, might diminish fast as she moves on to other things. Susie's grade average in interpersonal skills is the greatest in recorded time, as per one of her 4th grade instructors, Miss Winkleman. Carl Kreiniswix. Carl Kreiniswix, Johnny Bravo's neighbor, is first seen in the 2nd season. Carl is also Johnny's best buddy, as well as a local genius and a nerd. Others find him unpleasant, owing mostly to his high-pitched and nasal voice. During the 2nd and 3rd seasons, he appears in the majority of episodes, but by the 4th season, his character has been reduced to cameos or minor roles. He does, however, play a significant role in the segment Run Johnny Run, in which he attempted to assist Johnny in getting to his date in his automobile. Carl is bright, innovative, unconventional, shy, and nice. When he is delighted, he is typically very exuberant, speaking a lot and constantly clapping his hands or yelling words like yay and okay. His primary interests include science, science fiction, particularly Trip McCoy Galaxy Boy, and also bugs. Carl is also interested in history, mythology, and different civilizations. He also understands a lot about nature, including flora, wildlife, recycling, and so on. Pops. Pops is the proprietor of Pop's Moon Palace, which is a neighborhood restaurant loved by Carl Kreiniswix and Johnny Bravo. Pops, like Carl, debuted in the 2nd season following the show's original retooling and lasted even after the 4th season's retool, although in a brief cameo role. He is usually polite, yet greedy at times and abrupt or nasty at others, and he has certain fatherly tendencies. He frequently provides Johnny recommendations and counsel, yet his assistance is sometimes ineffective, occasionally causing Johnny difficulty. Because of his avarice and eagerness to sell strange and repulsive meals to his clients, his diner's chili contains suspect components such as hair gel, and he prepares dishes created from various animals. In the show's pilot episode, at the Aron City Zoo, a dim-witted Johnny Bravo does bodybuilder postures to attract ladies and seeks to date a gorgeous red-headed zookeeper named Mary. Johnny attempts to demonstrate and even convince her that he is a real-life superhero by assisting her in locating a 900-pound escaped zoo gorilla. The villainous King Raymond seeks to blame Jungle Boy in episode number 2 of the first season in order to recapture the adulation that the rest of the animals used to offer him. As a punishment, the beasts decide to feather and tar Raymond. Raymond flees screaming, and the beasts pursue him. Jungle Boy is then interviewed by Mary Antelope of the Jungle News, who asks him what he felt about the entire experience. Johnny Bravo and the Amazon Women is actually a Johnny Bravo episode from the first season, and the third pilot episode to appear as part of What a Cartoon. In this segment, Johnny falls off a boat in the ocean and ends up on an island inhabited by beautiful Amazons, which appears to be a dream of his that has finally come true. However, towards the end of the episode, our dim-witted hero is tossed into an active volcano, which then begins to erupt. The volcano transports Johnny to the famous island of Beautiful Men, where he meets the locals. The episode concludes when Johnny raises an eyebrow, perplexed by his situation.
Baby!
Cast of the show: Jeff Bennett as Johnny Bravo. Jeffrey Glenn Bennett, born October 2, 1962, is an American voice actor who has played Johnny Bravo in the original television series Brooklyn in Gargoyles and also Kowalski in the Penguins of Madagascar show in place of Chris Miller. Bennett won an Annie Award in 2012 for his work in The Penguins of Madagascar and an Emmy Award in 2016 for his performance in Transformers Rescue Bots. He has been named one of the finest voices in the industry. Brenda Vaccaro as Bunny Bravo. Brenda Buell Vaccaro, born on 18th November in 1939, is a theater, TV, and film actress from the United States. Over the course of a career, she got 1 nomination for an Academy Award, 3 Golden Globe Award nominations, 1 of which she won, 4 Primetime Emmy Award nominations, 1 of which she won, and 3 Tony Award nominations. Mae Whitman as Little Susie. Mae Margaret Whitman, born on 9 June in 1988, is a singer and actress from the United States. She began her career as a child actress in commercials before making her debut at the age of 6 in the romantic movie When a Man Loves a Woman in 1994. She rose to prominence as a child actor for her parts in One Fine Day in 1996, Independence Day in 1996, Hope Floats in 1998, and Jag from 1998 to 2001. Tom Kenny as Carl Kreiniswix. Thomas James Kenny, born on 13th July 1962, is a comedian and actor from the United States. He is best known for his work as the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants and other related media. Kenny has also provided voices for a variety of other characters. For his performance as the Ice King and SpongeBob SquarePants, Kenny has received 2 Daytime Emmy Awards as well as 2 Annie Awards. He frequently collaborates with his wife Jill Talley, who voices Karen on the series SpongeBob SquarePants. Larry Drake as Pops. Larry Richard Drake was born on 21st February in 1949 and passed away on 17th March in 2016. A comedian and actor from the United States, he was most recognized for his role as Benny Stolwitz in LA Law, and he received 2 Primetime Emmy nominations for it. In addition, he played Robert G. Durant in Darkman and Darkman 2: The Return of Durant, and Pops in Johnny Bravo.
How'd you like to spend some not-so-solitary confinement with yours truly?
Production. Johnny Bravo was cancelled after season 1, but it was revived for an unanticipated second season in '99. During Warner Brothers' purchase of Turner Broadcasting, Van Partible was dismissed, and Kirk Tingblad replaced him as director, resulting in a substantial retooling of the show's graphic style, tone, comedy, and characters. This format was carried over to the 3rd season of the show. The show was put on pause once more before being revived for season 4 in 2003, which aired in 2004. The last season of the show reverted to the classic shorts and first season's comedy, with Van Partible rejoining and directing all of the season 4 episodes, albeit the Jungle Boy figure from the first season did not return. Johnny Bravo was named number 71 on IGN's list of the top 100 animation series of 2009. The number 5 Kellogg's Chevrolet received a unique paint job featuring Johnny Bravo on its hood after the series concluded in 2004. Kyle Busch drove it in the Sharpie 500 NASCAR event in 2005. The main character is regarded as iconic, and his taglines are often used in popular culture. The show's creative department went on to develop a number of successful television shows in the 90s and 2000s, namely by scriptwriter Seth MacFarlane, developer of the iconic cartoon comedy Family Guy. Shortly after the first season ended, writer and director Butch Hartman departed to work on the Oh Yeah cartoons with Nickelodeon, which spawned his own masterpiece, The Fairly Odd Parents. Since the show's debut in 2001, Steve Marmel, a writer who worked for Johnny Bravo, has been a writer and producer for The Fairly Odd Parents. Director John McIntyre, in addition to Johnny Bravo, was a supervising director for Cartoon Network's new show, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Hey there, baby.
Interesting facts about the show. An arrangement of the end titles theme plays with no audio of Johnny in specific language versions of the second and third seasons. Even though a few Johnny Bravo items have artwork from season 1 or was produced by Van Partible personally, the bulk used artwork from the second and third seasons. This is most likely owing to a large number of renders produced, the most identifiable imagery being utilized, and the relatively similar 3 or 4 backdrops, most prominently Johnny's house, Pop Moon's palace, and Johnny's room being reused on items. This also extends to Cartoon Network computer games using Johnny Bravo figures, as their designs are typically based on these retooled designs. Some toys such as plush Johnny dolls and tiny figures of characters such as Jungle Boy were never made available. During its run, the series had its own casual dining promotional games at Subway and Wendy's, but just a few commercial toys like card games, a jigsaw, and a board game were available in the United States. This was because Cartoon Network was having difficulty selling the series to youngsters. Although Johnny Bravo puzzles and a small tale adaptation of The Perfect Gift were featured in coloring books by Cartoon Network, the show stood out for its major focus on adult relationships and the usage of terms or expressions that younger children may not be acquainted with. Segments were created from outlines rather than scripts throughout the second and third seasons. The directors, writers, producers, and storyboard artists would gather and beat out most of the humor on post-its while the illustrator roughed out drawings. This was done to reduce confusion and decrease the coordination time between the writer, director, producer, and the artist. This also was one of Seth MacFarlane's and Butch Hartman's earliest animated shows, and they quickly became great friends. Johnny's look might be a homage to the 1950s subculture known as greasers. It is shown that Johnny's ancestors are just as dumb and pitiful as him, such as his great-granduncle, who was named Benedict Bravo, who sold out the Americans to the British people during the American Revolution, or Vasco de Bravo, who went out to look for the fountain of youth and ended up impoverished and friendless. Surprisingly, Johnny's birthday falls on Valentine's Day. Johnny frequently tells other people, mainly ladies, strange stories about himself, including stuff like having a fish or a salamander live in his mouth for a very long time. In conclusion, Johnny Bravo will be remembered as a Cartoon Network favorite. A creative writing team, classic animation, and enduring characters distinguish this comedic anime. True, the program went through several alterations, but its foundation stayed consistent. It also has a TV movie and a spin-off worth viewing. Despite receiving multiple nominations, the program had decent merchandising, including a computer game. There was even talk of a live-action feature starring Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. Given how popular the professional wrestler is, this film would have been ahead of its time. Only season 1 was available on DVD as of 2021, with a few episodes accessible on compilation DVDs. Some fans continue to demand that the remainder of the program be published on DVD and made accessible on HBO Max. The only place where you can see and download all of the segments is iTunes. Whatever happens, Johnny will never give up, and his famous personality will make the young and the old chuckle alike. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Johnny, that's my cable. Hook up.